At least 73 people have died in a fire in Johannesburg building in South Africa. More than 50 others are injured. Officials say it is unclear what sparked the fire at the five-story building. The building, though originally abandoned, had been occupied by homeless people. A spokesperson for the emergency services, Robert Maludi, told the BBC that firefighters had been able to bring out some of the occupants and says that rescue efforts are continuing. Disaster management officials are also in the area to provide relief for surviving residents. Let's cross over to South Africa, where Mapitso Sebidi joins us live from Johannesburg to give us an update of what's going on. Mapitso, it's great to have you here and seeing that you're safe. But how far are you from where the incident happened?
Thank you so much for having me, Mamiesi. So I live an hour away from the scene of the incident. So to give you a type of clear view, it's like this incident happened in Makola, and I would live maybe in somewhere like Cantonment. So it's quite far.
Great. But around what time did this incident happen, and have people in the adjoining buildings been evacuated by fire personnel?
So the incident happened at 1:30 a.m. local time, and so they have evacuated everyone, and rescue efforts are still ongoing.
Have the authorities been able to establish the cause of the fire yet?
They haven't, but the Joburg City Councilman thinks that it might be a small fire that the squatters had started, because we still have cold nights. So what these squatters do, they just build a small fire. So maybe that fire might have gone unattended and that caused the fire.
But do we also know of any arrangements they're doing to prevent another one from happening?
Unfortunately not, because these are buildings we called hijack buildings. They've been abandoned and squatters came to overtake them. So we have a lot of those abandoned buildings. So unfortunately right now, the only thing that they can be given is affordable housing, which they can't, or which they don't have right now. So we hope that in the hotter days, these fires won't start, or they won't continue.
And briefly, before you go, we understand that 73 people died in this fire. Have they been identified, and what's happening to these people, to the deceased, I mean?
Some of them are burnt beyond recognition, so it's going to be quite hard. And most of them are undocumented migrants. So it's also a bit shaky, because they don't have IDs, they don't have passports. So it's going to be quite difficult to identify these 73 dead people.
Right. Grateful for your time here, Mapitso Sebidi, talking to us live from Johannesburg, South Africa. Well, let's bring this conversation home and speak to the Director of Public Relations of the Ghana National Fire Service. Thank you for joining us, sir. How safe are the numerous high-rising buildings in Accra in case of a fire outbreak?
Thank you very much. Grateful to join you here. We can classify the high-rise buildings in Ghana to two. We have ones that were up before we had the legislation on high-rise buildings. What is happening is that those who were in existence before that time, some of them do not have the safety facilities that is needed for modern day evacuation when there is any emergencies in such premises. However, the good news is that all those that were put up after the promulgation of the law have facilities built in there so that they can withstand incidences when they happen.
What has the Ghana National Fire Service, found from its routine inspections of these buildings? You do make such inspections, don't you?
So, and you realize that in order for us not to be caught hands down, we do what we call regular simulation exercises. And so if we identify a building that we are not so familiar with, we do simulation exercise to put in place measures to ensure that if the actual incident occurs, it will be easy for us to cope with the situation. And so we have regular checks and we have regular stimulation exercises as well to ensure that in the event of any situation such as what has happened in South Africa, we'll be on top of the game.
Really, what do you look out for when you go to these buildings? What do you look out for, I mean, in form of education to our viewers listening? What is supposed to be there in these buildings to avoid some of these incidents?
Right. First of all, we look at what we call early warning systems. All such buildings have what we call early warning systems. Early warning systems are simply devices that will alert you in case of any emergency in the premises. We also look at exits or means of escape in case of an emergency. How are people going to exit the premises? We also look at water supply systems to the facility. And last and foremost, we look at firefighting systems. These last one that I mentioned, the firefighting systems, some are automatic and some are manual. And so these are the things we look out for.
Right. And before you go, you know, there's been some investigations going on some fire incidents that happened, especially with that of Kumasi KTM Market. What's the update on these investigations?
You realize that when the KJTM Market incident happened, there was a committee that was formed by the local government ministry. And so that committee, I think, have already submitted their report to the minister. I don't know the content of that particular investigations.
Right, but the fire service raised concerns about them not adhering to certain fire safety precautions and even not having a fire safety permit. What has become of that? Yeah, so I think all of them were to be addressed by the committee that sat. Like I speak to you, I don't have a copy of that report yet, and I don't have any information on that, so I can't speak to it. Right, we're grateful for your time. Mr. Timothy Osafo, who is the Director of Public Relations at the Ghana National Fire Service. You're still...